Hi there. I've been reflecting a bit on today's gospel reading, which is Luke 16:19 to 31. Feel free to pause the video and have a read of it. It's a parable about the afterlife, and parables are stories that mess with the way that we expect the world to work. And that's what this parable does with the afterlife. From what I understand, ancient Jewish people mostly had an idea that after death they would spend eternity in the grave with their family. Greek and Roman pagan religion, on the other hand, said that most people would go to a place of suffering called Hades, the underworld. In this parable, the rich man who's died, he would have expected that he was going to be with his family in the family grave, resting. But instead, he's found himself in Hades, the pagan realm of the dead, a place of misery. Being in the grave with his ancestors, it seems, depended on his relationship with the poor man Lazarus, his neighbor. He needed to remember the poorest person in his family. He needed to remember that Lazarus was part of his family. He needed to remember that Lazarus represented his people's story. He should have remembered that the Torah has told his whole people that they need to remember the poor, they need to remember people who are suffering, because they've experienced that as a people. They had experienced poverty and slavery and abuse in Egypt. Lazarus should have reminded him of his own people's story. And so because he hasn't remembered his own people's story and he hasn't recognized that Lazarus's experience is his people's experience, because he's separated himself from Lazarus, he's separated himself from his family. He's separated himself from the experience of his ancestors. And so he is now estranged from his family in death. He's not with his esteemed ancestors being comforted and cared for. He's alone in misery because of the walls that he put up during his life.